first was mercury in China. Then I ended up getting mold toxicity from living in an old moldy barn where I live in and didn't realize it, and ended up, it was a perfect storm of insults, which is often what happens. If you take the lineage and timeline of somebody's health issue, you can usually see what's going on. And for me, I had an antibiotic for a root canal that I had taken out. That gave me C. diff. I had mold underlying. This was sort of set the stage. I was coughing for a year. I broke my arm 3 weeks later, and then boom, everything collapsed. And so I was 30 pounds lighter than I am now. I couldn't work. I was in bed. I couldn't function. I couldn't think. I couldn't really do anything. And I was really struggling to just even kind of navigate my way out, even with all my functional medicine tools. So I had to learn a whole new approach of how do you resurrect the body's own innate healing mechanisms, right? So we can do a lot of stuff to the body. We can give you herbs, or we can give you vitamins, or we can give you whatever. But the question is, how do you actually activate this miraculous response in the body that's a healing, regenerative response? And so whether it's, applying that to myself, applying to my patients, but now I can't stop thinking about the bigger ecosystem in which we live, the planetary ecosystem and the ecosystem of humanity, and how those are related to our own health and what we do to ourselves, we do to the planet, what we do to the planet, we do to ourselves. And so I began to think about, well, for many of my patients, food is really the driver of most of their problems, right? Our ultra processed diet, our high levels of starch and sugar, refined and processed foods. And I'm like, well, if that's true, if food is causing their illness, I can't really treat them in my office, right? So what's causing the food that they're eating? Well, it's the food system and our food policies. And that's what's causing those food policies. It's the food industry, right? And so I began to sort of go down that rabbit hole and began to sort of look at, right from the seeds we grow to how we take care of the soil, to the nutrient quality of the food that comes out of it, to how it's processed, to what we eat. And I began to see this web of connection where human health, planetary health are all connected. I mean, the fact that we're sick, right? 6 out of 10 of us are sick, 75% of us are overweight, 88% of us are metabolically unhealthy. That means 12% of Americans are healthy, which is terrifying when you look at that statistic, considering those are the ones at most risk for death from COVID. And the planet is sick, right? Our biodiversity is declining. The biodiversity of our own microbiome is declining. The biodiversity of the soil is declining. Our plant species are declining. Our livestock species, our bird species, our pollinator species are down 75%. Our climate is unstable, and we're releasing huge amounts of carbon in the atmosphere. A lot of it's from agriculture and how we grow our food. So I began to realize that in order to actually heal humans, we also need to heal the earth. And the earth is going to be fine. If we get annihilated, if we go extinct, like, the earth will recover, right? And you look at Chernobyl now, it's like an incredible ecosystem full of plants and animals and wolves and deer and bear. It's like, and everything's taken over all the buildings. It's like nature has reclaimed the earth, right? And I think that's will happen very quickly if we disappear, because we're the parasite on the earth. But I think, if we want to heal ourselves, we also have to heal the planet, because the ecosystem is driving so many changes that are creating instability for humanity and food insecurity. And just by the depletion of our soil, we've robbed ourselves of nutrition. I mean, even the best broccoli today grown in the soils that we have is half as nutritious as it was 50 years ago. Now, if you have a regenerative farm, different, but for most of the stuff we eat, the nutrient density, the phytochemicals, everything has just gone away.